A raincoat she shouldn't own. Hey, night listener. Tonight we enter the shadows. Rain slides down the windows like secrets no one dares to say out loud. Dim streetlights flicker through the mist, casting crooked halos on wet pavement. Somewhere, a car door thuds shut. Somewhere else, heels click like a metronome, counting down to something you'd rather not meet. You're not supposed to be here. Not at this hour, not in this neighborhood. But curiosity is a thief. It always takes you further than you meant to go. If this story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and here subscribe only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. Drop your city in the comments and tell me, are you chasing the truth, the thrill, or the justice? Now lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. She's standing at the edge of the tape, arms folded, expression carved from calm to calm. You watch her. Watch the way the detectives barely question her, the way they nod as she answers in tidy, measured sentences, like she had her story written 3 drafts ago. You glance down at her coat, a pale gray trench, not new, but polished, tailored, elegant, but wrong, because it rained all night. You know this, because you couldn't sleep, because you sat by the window watching it come down in sheets, listening to it smear the city into blur and static. And yet, her coat, it's bone dry, no streaks, no damp cuffs, no weight of water. You blink once, then again. Like that'll explain it. But it stays dry, smug in its impossibility. You step closer. She doesn't flinch. Instead, she gives you a smile so practiced it might be patentable. Officer said you wanted to ask about the timeline. You're not a cop, but she knows that, which makes the question worse. You nod anyway. Walk me through your night. You say. She does, with precision. Dinner with a friend. Uber home. Slept by 10. Nothing strange. Nothing risky. You ask who the friend was. She offers a name before you finish the question. You ask what she ate. She describes the risotto. You ask if she noticed anything unusual. She laughs lightly. Only the rain. Never seen it come down like that before. And that's when you realize she's lying. But not about where she was. About how she was. She's using the rain as garnish. A narrative flourish. Because if she'd walked outside last night like she says, she'd remember how it felt. Not just how it looked. The wind, the sting of it, the soak. And yet, she stands before you, dry as a sealed vault, back at your apartment. You hang your own jacket still damp. The weather report on your phone confirms it 94% chance of precipitation, 3 to 4 inches recorded. You stare at the drying sleeves, then at your notebook. You write one word, impossible. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about control. So you go back to her statement. The timestamps, the ride log, everything checks out. Too much checks out. No contradictions. And that's the real red flag. Because perfection doesn't exist unless it's been designed. You stare at your window again, and in the faint reflection for just a second, you don't see yourself. You see her smiling, as if she knew you'd come looking, as if she wanted you to. The watch that ticked too loud. You return the next day, not because you have proof, but because you have doubt. And in cases like this, doubt has sharper teeth than evidence. She's at the cafe again, sipping something pale and bitter in a white ceramic cup. You don't speak at first, just watch her from the corner table. People pass, murmur, tap screens. She doesn't notice them. Or maybe she does, but chooses not to. She's wearing the same watch she had on at the scene. Gold-plated, analog, delicate. You don't recognize the brand, but it ticks loud enough that you can hear it from your seat. Tick, tick, tick. 3 beats per sip. A mechanical metronome keeping perfect time with a story that no longer feels like hers. You finally approach. She smiles again, same smile, same cadence. Still thinking about the range, she asks, without prompting. That smile is a trap, one you nearly fall into. You sit. You ask if she still remembers the time she got home the night of the incident. Of course, she says. The Uber dropped me off at 9:41 p.m. No hesitation, like it was tattooed on her memory. You nod, pull out your phone, show her the map, the route, the log. She studies it with the serene detachment of someone who already knows what she's going to say. But you've seen something else. Her watch. You lean in. You said the Uber dropped you off at 9:41, you say slowly. She nods. You tap her wrist gently. Then why does your watch say 9:23? She blinks. Just once. A fracture. It's an heirloom, she says. It runs a little slow. I haven't had it adjusted. A flimsy answer. Too flimsy. Back in your apartment, you find the security footage again. Her building's exterior camera. Time-stamped. Grainy. She appears in the corner of the screen at precisely 9:23 p.m. Not 9:41. Not even close. The footage matches the time on her watch. But not the app. Not the Uber. So which is lying? You stare at both clocks. Tick, tick. They match, just not with each other. You rewind the footage and zoom in. A subtle reflection in the glass door. Her face? She's not looking at the building. She's looking at the camera. Directly. Smiling. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about narrative control. So you do something reckless. You book a ride with the same Uber driver. Same route, same drop-off. The driver, a quiet man in his 40s, seems unfazed by the deja vu. Yeah, I picked her up. Classy, quiet, barely spoke. You ask what time he dropped her. He hesitates. The app says 9:41, but then he frowns. Funny thing though, she asked me to stop 2 blocks early. Said she liked to walk the rest. You nod, pretending that doesn't make everything worse, because that 2-block walk, it would have taken exactly 18 minutes. Back home, you time the walk. From the mock drop-off to the building entrance, 17 minutes, 49 seconds. You watch your stopwatch tick toward the final second, then compare it to the footage. It syncs. Exactly. So why lie? Why shift the time? Why move the drop-off? Unless you weren't supposed to know she was near the crime scene at 9:23. Unless the alibi was constructed not to protect her presence, but to distract from her proximity. She wasn't at the wrong place. She was at the perfectly timed place. You don't sleep that night. Every tick of the clock on your wall feels louder than the last. You consider removing the batteries, but part of you needs to hear it, needs to feel the tension, like something's winding tighter, a mechanism with a singular purpose, to snap. And still, her watch ticks on, louder in your memory than it was in the cafe. 3 ticks per sip, 3 lies per sentence, and somewhere in all that rhythm, the truth is buried like a needle in perfect white fabric. The camera that glitched at midnight. You return to the building the next night, not for her, for the camera. It's perched above the entrance like a silent observer, unblinking, unfeeling, never missing a thing, except it did. 1 frame, 1 second, gone. You get access through a friend of a friend. Security tech, works nights, paid in bourbon and secrets. He hands you the hard drive with a shrug. Camera's reliable. Never fails, he says. Unless someone wants it to. You smile. Not because it's funny, but because it confirms the ache you've been dragging around since her perfect answer. You spend the night watching footage, pixel by pixel, frame by frame, and there it is, 23:59:44. Then it skips. 00:01. 7 seconds. Gone. 7 seconds in which she walks out of frame and never walks back in. You rewind. Slow. Slower. There's a shimmer around the moment before the glitch, like a faint static veil. And just before it cuts, she turns her head, looks up not at the door, not at her phone, but at the camera, dead into the lens, smiling. Again, that same rehearsed curve of the lips, too confident, like she's not being watched, like she's watching you. You call your friend, ask him if the glitch could be random. He sighs. Only happens if someone loops the feed, inserts a patch of old footage. You ask if it's been tampered with. He hesitates, then sends you a file. Overlay metadata. Someone accessed the feed at 2:07 a.m., the morning after the crime. Guess who logged in, he says. He doesn't need to tell you. You already know the username. Hers. You visit her apartment again. This time she lets you in. You make small talk books on the shelf. The broken mirror still unrepaired. The red umbrella still drying by the door. Some things are better left cracked, she says, eyes dancing over the mirror. You say nothing. You're too busy watching the wall above her fireplace. A modest framed photo. A still from the security camera. Frozen at 23:59:43, the frame before the glitch. You stare at it. Nice piece, you say. She smiles. I like to collect stillness. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about erasing the moment truth could enter. The glitch wasn't an error. It was surgery. Precise, clean. 7 seconds sliced out like a tumor. And what was in them? A figure, a weapon, a change in expression. You don't know, because she made sure you couldn't. That night, the rain comes back, harder this time. You sit at your desk, her smile seared behind your eyelids. The camera didn't blink. She did, and for 1 second, it was all there. Whatever she didn't want you to see, and that makes it the most important second of all. You set your own camera up, facing the window. You're not sure why. Maybe to remind yourself that some footage isn't fake. Maybe to prove she's not the only one watching. Or maybe, just maybe, to catch what's been following you. A photograph. Nobody took you. You wake before the alarm. A film of sweat on your neck. The kind born from dreams that don't come with images, just pressure. Outside, the city is still yawning, but something on your doormat is already awake. An envelope, no return address, no stamp, just your name. Handwritten in black ink, clean strokes, controlled, the same way she answers questions. You kneel, pick it up, feel the weight of it. Light, but heavy with suggestion. You open it. Inside a single photograph. It's her, standing outside the building. The same building, but not from security footage. This is crisp, color corrected, captured from an angle that no mounted camera could ever reach street level. Slightly tilted. She's glancing sideways, holding something in her hand. A phone. A key. Her expression is unfamiliar. Not the calm mask, not the smirk. This one is aware, as if she knows she's being watched. No timestamp, no watermark, No clue who took it. Just a moment that shouldn't exist. A moment no one was supposed to see. And yet, here it is. You turn the photo over. There's something faint, almost rubbed out. You tilt it under the light. The number 4, handwritten in pencil. Then beneath it, barely visible, find the others. You don't know who sent it, but they know what you're chasing. Worse, they know what she erased. You return to the glitch in the footage. Overlay the photo in front of your screen. The angle lines up. Her position, her expression. This photo was taken within the missing 7 seconds. And that confirms one thing. Someone else was there, watching, photographing, documenting what the camera didn't. The silence of the glitch just got louder. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about the evidence that vanishes first. You call the Uber driver again. Ask him one more question. Did she say anything before she got out? He pauses. Yeah, she said. Don't worry, it won't take long. Did she say where she was going? Another pause. Said she needed to meet someone who owed her clarity. Clarity, an odd word for someone with a perfect alibi. Too precise, like a chess move made 12 turns ahead. You check your messages. Nothing. But when you pull up your cloud drive, something new is waiting. A folder labeled 2. Inside another photo. This time you, standing across the street from her building. You don't remember the moment. You don't remember anyone taking it. But it's you. Exact. Undeniable. And suddenly, your chest feels tight. Because this isn't just a trail of breadcrumbs. It's a loop. And you're not just chasing her alibi. You're becoming part of it. You stare at the 2 photos side by side. Her, you, different nights, or the same. The shadows fall the same way. The rain on the sidewalk curves in the same arcs, like reflections in the same mirror, seconds apart. You step back. Your phone buzzes once. No caller ID. A text. Photo 3 arrives. When you're ready to see yourself, you don't reply, because you already know you're in the story now. But you're no longer sure if you're the observer or the subject, the witness, who changed their mind. The next morning, you return to the building not to speak to her, but to find someone who might have seen more than they were supposed to. Apartment 3B, the neighbor. He gave a statement the night it happened, said he heard nothing, saw nothing, that she was home before 10. But silence is suspicious when it's wrapped in certainty. You knock, no answer. You knock again, firmer this time. Finally, the door cracks open, just enough to reveal a cautious eye and the chain glinting in the morning light. I told the police everything, the man says. You explain you're not the police. That makes him hesitate longer. Then, slowly, the door opens wider. The apartment is dim. The curtains are drawn. There's the faint smell of dust and fried onions, something too human to trust entirely. You sit on the edge of a worn leather chair. He doesn't offer coffee, doesn't even ask your name, just stands by the window, watching the street like it might change shape any minute. You're here about the girl in 4A. It's not a question. You nod. She said she was home by 10, that she didn't leave. He nods back, but it's the kind of nod that folds into itself, hesitant, coerced. You wait, then ask quietly, did she lie? A long pause, too long. Then, that night, I heard footsteps, late, maybe close to midnight. You say nothing. He turns to you. I didn't tell the cops. She asked me not to. Said it would confuse things. Did you see her leave? Another pause. No, but I saw her come back. You blink. What time? 12:12. I remember because the cable cut out mid-program, and I looked at the clock. What was she wearing? Red coat. Or maybe wine-colored. Hood up. She didn't look at me. Did she say anything? He shakes his head. Just nodded. Like she knew I saw her. Like she didn't care. You leave him a card. Tell him to call if he remembers more. But as you reach the door, he speaks again. There was something else. You turn. She was humming. Humming, yeah, a lullaby. I couldn't place it. Something about silver bells. Your blood chills because you've heard that same tune before. From a voicemail. One you got months ago from an unknown number. Just soft humming and one whisper at the end. Don't forget the bells. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about what truth could be replaced with. You replay that old voicemail. The hum matches perfectly. And that's when you realize she's rehearsed this. Down to the soundscape, down to the background noise. Even her presence is choreographed. Like a character playing herself with the director off screen. You head back to your apartment, mind spinning, and tape to your door. Almost playfully, photo 3. You tear it down and freeze. It's the neighbor, 3B, standing in his kitchen, phone to his ear. The timestamp 1 hour ago, and in the corner of the frame, a reflection in the microwave door. Not yours, hers, watching him, watching you. You turn around, look both ways. No one's there. But that's the problem, isn't it? It's not just that she's watching. It's that she's already seen what you'll do next. Her voice on a muted voicemail. You don't sleep that night. Again, the silence is too sharp, too prepared. Every creak of the floorboards, every hum from the fridge feels deliberate. Like they're cues in a performance you didn't agree to audition for. At 3:08 a.m., your phone buzzes. Blocked number. You hesitate, but of course, you answer. Nothing. Just static. And then, so faint, you almost miss it breathing. Female. Measured. Deliberate. Then a whisper. You're close, but you've forgotten something important. Click. You check the call log. No number. No duration. No evidence it happened. Except it did. And the worst part. That voice. You've heard it before. Not just in interviews or recordings. You've heard it here in your apartment. And then it hits you. The voicemail. The old one. The humming with the whispered line. Don't forget the bells. You dismissed it as a prank months ago. A one-off. Left it buried in the archives of your phone like a dead memory. But now you pull it up again. This time, you run it through software. Noise reduction, audio lift, frequency spike, and buried beneath the hum in the left channel. There's something else. A second voice. Muffled. Distant. Repeating one word. Watch. You isolate it. Slow it down. It becomes a full sentence. Watch the reflection. You shiver. Because now you know where to look. You open the file from the glitchy security feed again. The one with her looking at the camera. Then you slow the playback. Frame by frame. And in one of them, you freeze. Enhance. And there, in the glossy surface of the door behind her, is your face. Not in real time, but photographed. Held up in her hand, like a mirror showing your future. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about getting you to chase it in circles. And now the circle has closed. She wasn't just protecting an alibi. She was crafting yours, rehearsing it, layering it, etching your presence into timelines you weren't even in. So when the blame falls, it lands somewhere in between. Not on her, not on you, but in the shadow space she engineered. You open your voicemail settings. There's a saved draft. No caller. Just titled Dollhouse. You don't remember recording it. You don't remember playing it. But when you hit play, it's her voice again. Clear, confident. You built your own cage. You know, I just handed you the key. You've been listening to my voice for weeks, but I've been listening longer. And soon, you'll forget which one of us made the first move. Then silence, then one final sentence, quiet, like breath fogging up a mirror. Next time, don't answer the phone. You put the phone down, not gently, and in the mirror above your desk, something shifts. You stare, but there's only your reflection. Except it's wearing different clothes. You blink. It's back to normal. But you know what you saw and what you heard, because now her voice is inside your memory, wired into it, as if it was always there. The file that wasn't on the drive. Morning brings no answers, only more questions. You sit in your apartment, blinds drawn, coffee cold, laptop open to the same folder you've stared at for hours. Dollhouse is gone. You didn't delete it, but it's not there anymore. No trace in the logs, no audio in the cache, like it was never written, never played. Except your skin still remembers the goosebumps. Your pulse still skips when you think of her voice whispering, "Next time, don't answer the phone." You dig deeper into the hard drive, open folders inside folders, hidden directories, masked timestamps, and then you find it. A zip file, buried 3 layers deep, titled Mirror Room. You don't remember downloading it, but your cursor hovers. You unzip it. Inside, only one item, a video, MP4. You hit play. The footage opens in static. Then a room, empty, bare walls, one chair in the center, no sound, except for a faint electric hum like old fluorescent lights trying to die. Then she enters the frame. Same red coat, same clockwork stride. She sits, faces the camera directly, and begins speaking. "You've been very thorough," she says. "The problem is, you think you're outside this, but you're in it. You're inside the room already. There's no such thing as objective investigation, just storytelling. You choose the parts, you ignore the rest." She smiles softly, like she's about to read you a bedtime story. "So let me tell you mine." She holds up a mirror, a compact one, purse-sized, worn edges. She angles it to the camera. The glass is cracked. In the reflection, you, sitting right where you are now, wearing the same shirt, looking terrified. You pause the video. Your heart's a bass drum now. You turn, slowly, to the mirror behind you. It's intact, but your hands are shaking, because you realize you don't remember putting that mirror there. You play the video again. She sets the mirror down. Every time you see yourself, you should ask who put the reflection there, because maybe it isn't yours. The screen goes black, but not fully. In the bottom left corner, white text fades in. Your alibi starts here. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about installing doubt inside your own memories. You try to delete the file. You can't. File is currently in use. You close every window. Restart your system. Still the same message. You pull the plug on your router. Doesn't help. You disconnect the external drive. Still there. Like it's living in your machine now. Like it was always waiting. You walk to the kitchen. Try to shake it. But your phone buzzes again. This time, not a call. A Calendar alert. Meeting her alibi. 10 minutes. You never made that event. You checked the calendar history. It was added 3 days ago. From your device, from your IP. There's a location pinned, an address you don't recognize. Industrial district. Far from anything she should be connected to. And yet the title mocks you. Her alibi. You screenshot the alert. But when you check your gallery, it's gone. Replaced by another image. Your desktop. With the mirror. And standing behind you, blurred, but unmistakable. Her silhouette. You turn again. Nothing. Just empty air. But it doesn't feel empty anymore. You're not chasing the alibi. You're standing in it. Breathing it. And with every tick of the clock, you get the feeling that she's already written your next move. The key that didn't fit. Any lock. 10 minutes later, you're in your car, driving toward the address from the calendar alert. Your GPS voice stutters, reroutes itself twice, almost like it doesn't want you to get there, or like someone else is reprogramming the path as you go. You reach the building, gray brick, 5 floors, boarded windows and rusted signage. A warehouse that hasn't had purpose in years, except now. You are its purpose. You circle the block twice, looking for cameras. There are none. Or maybe they're just better at hiding than you. You step inside. It's colder than it should be. The kind of cold that hums at the base of your spine. There's a single hallway, long, lit by the faint flicker of motion-sensitive fluorescence. At the far end, a door. Steel, paint chipped. Handle wrapped in black cloth. A sticky note stuck just above the knob. Written in all caps, use the key you already have. You frown. You didn't bring a key, but you reach into your pocket anyway. And there it is, small, silver, dull teeth worn from use. You don't remember putting it there. You don't remember ever owning it. You stare at the door. It's the kind of moment noir stories are built around. You ask yourself, what kind of person walks through a door when they don't know who's waiting on the other side? But you already know the answer. You do, because you're too deep now. You insert the key. It slides in, but it doesn't turn. You try again, slower. Still nothing. But as you remove it, something shifts in the air behind you. A second door creaks open down the hallway you just passed. You spin around. It wasn't there before, but now wide open. Inside a chair, a projector, and on the floor, in chalk room 1, you enter. The projector starts automatically. Old school, reel to reel, crackling with age. It shows a living room, familiar, yours. She's in it, wearing the same red coat. She walks past your desk, stops at your bookshelf, and places something between 2 volumes. Then she turns, looks into the camera, and smiles. You freeze the frame, zoom in on the books. Spine titles match what's in your apartment. You rush home, dig through them, and there it is, a small velvet pouch. Inside another key, black, ceramic, and attached a note. The first lock was never meant to open. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about making you think you found it, just before it disappears again. You hold the black key in your palm. It's warm, not room temp warm, pocket warm, as if someone just left it there. You look up, and in the reflection of the blank TV screen across the room, she's standing behind you. You spin. No one, but the smell of her perfume lingers, something citrus and decay. Your phone buzzes again. One word, upstairs. You leave the apartment. You don't lock the door, because whatever this is, locks are illusions now. You drive back to the warehouse, climb the narrow staircase, each floor groans under your weight. At the top, another door, same cloth-wrapped handle. This time, you insert the black key. It turns. Click. The lock opens. And beyond it, another room. Empty. Except for one thing. A mirror. Cracked. And written across it in lipstick. You're almost ready to remember. You stare into the mirror. And for the first time, your reflection doesn't move with you. The diary, without a name. The mirror doesn't blink, but you do. Because what it's showing isn't just wrong, it's edited. Your reflection stands still while your hand trembles. You move your head slightly left, and the reflection lags a beat behind, as if it's catching up, as if it has to choose how to react. You reach for it, and just as your fingers graze the cold, spider-webbed glass, the lights overhead flicker, then die. And when they hum, back on, there's something on the floor behind you. A book. You don't remember hearing it fall. You kneel, pick it up. It's leather-bound, worn, smells like mildew and something else old grief. No title, no lock. You flip it open. No name. But the handwriting, you've seen it before. It's yours. Except, it's not. The first page reads like a confession. A day-by-day log. Not in full sentences, just fragments. Monday, she didn't look at me when she left. Tuesday, heard the bells again. Always 12:12. Wednesday, I moved the mirror. Still showed her. Thursday, I think the past is looping. You flip ahead. More entries. Longer now. More detailed. But none of it sounds like you. Until you reach a folded page tucked near the middle. Unfold it. 3 photographs tumble out. You recognize them instantly. Photo 1. Her at the building entrance. Photo 3. The neighbor's kitchen. Photo 5. Not taken yet, because it shows you in this very room, reading the diary, with the cracked mirror behind you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about the version of truth someone wants to leave behind. You stare at the photo again. In it, your left hand holds the diary. Your right hand holds something else. A knife, a tape recorder. You can't tell, it's blurry. But on the back of that photo, scrawled in ink, this is where it started. You scan the pages again, desperately now, because somewhere in here is a version of you that saw everything clearly and left you breadcrumbs to reconstruct it. A phrase jumps out near the back, underlined twice. The alibi is too perfect, because I gave it to her. Your hands freeze, because that sentence rewrites everything. If you gave her the alibi, then you were there. You were part of it. You helped her lie. You helped her cover it up. But why to protect her? To protect yourself. To protect something worse. You flip to the final page. The handwriting is rushed. Erratic. She said I'd forget. She said it wouldn't matter if I remembered. But I remember. I remember the bells. I remember the blood. I remember the silence. I remember saying yes. And now, I don't know which one of us is writing this. You snap the book shut. It feels heavier now, like it's absorbed your pulse. You reach for your phone, but the screen is black, dead, no battery, or maybe no signal inside this truth. You look back to the mirror. This time, the reflection is matching you again. Almost. But your reflection is holding the book open and mouthing something silently. 3 words. You lean in, try to read lips, and then you get it. Your stomach drops. It's mouthing, "Don't trust you." You drop the diary. It thuds to the floor and stays there like it's waiting for someone else. And when you back away, you realize the cracked mirror now has a name etched into the corner, yours, and underneath it, author of her story, the voice that knew too much. You stumble backward from the mirror. The air feels thinner in here now, like the room has been sealed off from oxygen or from time. You try the door, locked. You didn't hear it close. You didn't hear it lock, but it's shut now, and the handle won't budge. You turn back to the room, back to the diary, which hasn't moved, and then a voice from somewhere behind you, female, calm, familiar. I told you not to answer the phone. You spin around, heart in your throat, but there's no one, only the mirror, and the mirror doesn't echo back anymore. It watches. The voice continues. You wanted the truth, but the truth isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. It folds back on itself, like memory, like guilt. You scan the ceiling, the walls. You find it. A speaker hidden behind a discolored panel in the upper corner. It clicks softly as the voice continues. You think I'm controlling the narrative, but I only guide it. You're the one who started recording things you couldn't handle. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about whether you could survive seeing it. The voice pauses. The tape inside the speaker whirs. Remember the missing hour? You do. The night of the murder. You told investigators you went for a walk to clear your head. But now here, with this voice as your only company, you're not so sure. Because you see the photo again. The one from the diary. Your hand, holding the recorder. Same watch you still wear. Same band-aid on your ring finger. There were two of us in the room. The voice says, one who told the story, one who erased it. Which one are you? You pick up the diary again, scan the margins for something new, and find it, written vertically along the inner spine, almost invisible. Ask her about the night you met. It stings, because you can't remember. You remember meeting her in a courtroom. You remember exchanging theories, ideas, glances too long to be casual, but that wasn't the first time. Was it? Your phone buzzes. Alive again. Only one thing on the screen. Called recording found 1 year ago. You play it. A coffee shop. Clinking spoons. Background chatter. Her voice. So, if I needed a favor, one that might involve forgetting something later, would you say yes? Your voice depends on what I'm forgetting. Hers, only what you never wanted to know in the first place. Then laughter. Yours and hers, as if it was all a game, a rehearsal. And maybe it was. You check the metadata. Call was saved under audio memo 00. No contact name, but geotagged. Same warehouse, different room. A location you didn't remember coming to until now. You knock on the wall. Once, twice. On the third knock it echoes. Hollow. You pry at the seams. Behind a loose panel, another room. This one dark. Smells like metal and old air. You step inside. It's smaller. Claustrophobic. Soundproofed. In the center, a table. On it, a recorder. Red light blinking. Still recording. You hit stop and listen. It's your voice. Panicked. I can't do this. She said it would be clean. She said it would be clean. Then her voice. Calm. Controlling. You asked for clarity. This is clarity. You just didn't like the shape it came in. Then silence. Then upon end. The lights flicker. Back in the other room. The mirror has changed. The crack is wider now. And in the center, in lipstick again, tape 13 starts now. You look down and realize your hand is already pressing record. The memory that wasn't yours. The red light glows. Blink, blink, blink. You don't remember pressing record. You don't even remember picking up the recorder, but now it's in your hand, humming softly, like it's always been there waiting. And the strangest part, you're not surprised. You speak quietly, carefully. This is me, I think. Tape 13. Your voice sounds distant, filtered, like someone else is already replaying it before you even finish. I don't remember everything, but I remember the blood. I remember her hands, calm, not trembling like mine. She said it was an accident, but no one says that while they're still holding the knife. You pause. The tape hisses softly. It's listening, and you realize something chilling. You're not alone. Not here. Not anymore. Because now, you are the unreliable narrator, and you're the one delivering the alibi. You pocket the recorder and turn back toward the cracked mirror. But it's no longer cracked. It's clean, flawless, and the reflection it gives you. Wearing clothes you haven't worn in years. Dark jacket, leather gloves, a smear of red near the sleeve. You reach up to touch it in the glass, and your actual sleeve, clean. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about how long you could carry the lie without breaking. The room darkens. A spotlight flickers on above the table. You approach, and there's something else now. A folder, your name on the front, typed, clinical. You flip it open. Inside court documents, testimonies, photos from a crime scene, your handwriting in the margins. Except you never wrote those notes. Not like that. Not with those words. Not with that tone. They're too cold, too calculated. You recognize the phrases. You just don't recognize yourself using them. In the middle of the file, a transcript. You skim it. A courtroom exchange. Your voice on record. Calm, controlled. You're describing her. She was home by 10. She called me after midnight. Confused, frightened. I told her to go back, to act like nothing happened. You freeze, because it's signed, dated, admitted into evidence. And it's real, a matter of public record. Except that trial never happened. Not in your memory, not in any report you've seen, not in this timeline. You slam the folder shut. Panic now, but calculated panic. The kind where you already suspect the answer, but you're still hoping to be wrong. You turn toward the exit, but the door is gone. Just another mirror. And now, instead of lipstick, something else is written. The story always returns to the author, and beneath it, a smear of red, fingerprint-sized. Yours, hers. Does it matter? Your phone vibrates in your pocket. One new text from a number with no name, just coordinates. A location 5 miles away. A house you thought had burned down. Come alone. Bring the recorder. And don't forget, you're the one who started this. You grip the recorder tighter. It's warm. Still recording. Still blinking. And as you look into the mirror again, you see your mouth moving. But you're not saying anything. Not yet. Because whatever you say next becomes the next tape and the next version of the truth. The house that shouldn't exist. The address sends you to the edge of the city where sidewalks crumble and GPS signals start to stutter. You drive past half-lit intersections, storefronts with 4 lease signs yellowed by time, and a chain-link fence sagging under the weight of too many winters. At the end of the road, the house. It's exactly as you remember it. But that's the problem. It burned down. You remember the fire. You remember the news headline, "Suspicious blaze destroys abandoned home." Arson not ruled out. You even remember standing across the street the next morning, watching it smolder, watching the roof cave in like a jaw unhinging. And yet, here it is, rebuilt, untouched, Not a scorch mark in sight. You park and approach slowly. Recorder still in your coat pocket, blinking with your heartbeat. The door is ajar. Of course it is. Inside, the air is stale, thick with the scent of old wood, damp fabric, and faint citrus. Her perfume again. There's no power, but candles burn in small glass holders along the hallway floor, lighting the way like breadcrumbs laid by a ghost. You step inside. Each footstep feels rehearsed, like you've been here before, like you never left. In the living room, the furniture is covered in white sheets, except one chair. It faces the fireplace, and on the floor beside it, a tape recorder. Not yours, but old, scratched. You hit play, and her voice fills the room. By now you've read the diary. By now you've listened to the old tapes, found the mirror, the key, the confession. But what matters isn't what I told you. It's what you chose to believe. You walk slowly to the mantel. Above it, a photograph. You and her, smiling, only you don't remember it being taken. Not there, not anywhere. You study it, try to fake the memory into place, but your face in the photo, it's wrong, too calm, like someone captured you pretending to be something you weren't. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about convincing you the lie was safer to live inside. On the back of the photo, scrawled in red ink, this is where the timeline split. You hear a click behind you. A door, not opening, closing. You spin. Too late. She's standing at the base of the stairs. No red coat this time, just black, hair pinned back, hands behind her back. Her eyes meet yours and don't blink. You came back, she says. You try to answer, but your voice fractures. I never left. You manage. She smiles. Then it's time we stop pretending. She nods toward the recorder in your pocket. Give it to me. You hesitate, because you're starting to remember what she'll do with it, what she already has. She'll edit the tape, change the timeline again, erase what she doesn't like, splice in a new version of you, one that never asked too many questions, one that accepted the alibi and never questioned the mirror. You step forward, hand hovering at your coat pocket, and then you hear it. Your voice from upstairs, talking, laughing, saying something you said months ago, or maybe years. A recording, no, a loop. You push past her and race up the stairs. Each step groans under you like it's remembering your weight. At the top, a room with no door. Inside, walls covered in photographs. All of you, sleeping, walking, smiling with strangers you've never met. And in the center of the room, a table. On it, a typewriter. Your name on the sheet of paper rolled into it. Typed words you haven't written yet, but they're there, waiting. And the last line reads, he stepped into the room and saw the version of himself he tried to bury. You turn around and see a second you, standing at the door, watching, silent, smiling. The confession you never gave. The other you doesn't move. He just stands there, framed by the flickering hallway candlelight. His posture mirrors yours, but his eyes don't. They're sharper, tired, but alert, like he's already lived through something you're just beginning. You open your mouth to speak, but your voice withers in your throat. Because what do you say to the version of yourself that stayed behind? You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about how many versions of you could carry the same lie before it cracked. You step toward him, and he finally speaks. You gave her the alibi. You wrote it down. You rehearsed it. You believed it. She didn't ask you to lie. You volunteered. You shake your head. No, that's not how you remember it. She came to you in pieces, panicked, tear-streaked, begging for help. She said he attacked her, said it wasn't supposed to happen, said you were the only one who could keep her safe. She said a lot of things. The other you replies, as if reading your thoughts, and you believed every one of them because you needed her to be innocent. He steps aside, revealing something on the floor behind him. A suitcase, old, leather, scuffed at the edges. You recognize it. It belonged to the man who died. You kneel beside it. The clasp is already undone. Inside a white glove, a Polaroid, a child's drawing, a clock with the hands removed. Artifacts, not from the crime scene, but from your own memory. Because you realize now, the alibi wasn't built around her. It was built around you. The Polaroid is of you both, taken through a dirty window. The timestamp in the corner. An hour after the murder. You're holding her hand. You're smiling. She's not. The child's drawing shows 3 figures, 2 adults. One smaller one crossed out with a red X. And on the back, in block letters, she promised not to hurt him. You dropped the drawing. You never had kids. You're sure of it. Unless... No. You take the glove in your hand. It's wet. Sticky. Your fingers recoil. But your other self speaks again. You found it in the fireplace. You didn't burn it. You hid it. And then you forgot. Because forgetting was easier than choosing who to betray. He gestures toward the typewriter. It's still waiting for the confession. Not the one you gave the police, the real one. You step to the table. Your hands tremble above the keys. The first words come slow, heavy. I lied. Clack. I said I didn't see what happened. Clack. But I saw everything. Clack. And I did nothing. You pause. Your breath fogs the air, though the room isn't cold. And then, behind you, the mirror groans. You turn. The mirror from the other room has followed you here. Cracks spider web from the center outward. And written in blood-red ink across it now, the only way out is through the truth. You return to the typewriter. Continue typing. Line after line. You detail the plan. The drive. The moment she handed you the blood-streaked watch and asked what to do. You describe burying it beneath the apartment boiler room. You describe the second voice on the tapes, not hers, yours, rehearsing how to sound shocked. And just before you reach the final sentence, the candle beside the typewriter sputters, goes out. The room dims, but something behind you flares up. The mirror, now fully shattered. And through it, you see your reflection split into 3. One holding the glove, one holding the drawing, one holding the truth. And the one holding the truth, he looks afraid, just like you. You turn back to the typewriter, but the page is gone. In its place, a single line, handwritten, not yours, not hers, just 4 words. You're still protecting her. You look up. Your other self is gone. The suitcase is gone. And in your hand, the recorder, still blinking, still recording, still listening. And now, it's your turn to speak. The truth you didn't say out loud. The recorder feels heavier now, like it knows something, like it's counting not just seconds, but secrets. You grip it tighter and press it to your lips. But the words stall behind your teeth, because once you say it, once it's on tape, it's real. It can't be disowned. It becomes evidence. And in this story, evidence has never been your friend. You hit pause, because that's what you've always done. Pause the truth before it finishes speaking. But the moment you do, your phone buzzes again. One new video. No sender, no timestamp, just a title confession. Uncut. You press play. The screen goes black for a moment, then a static flash, and then you. Not now you, not mirror you, a past you, talking, alone in a motel room, same coat, same recorder, but your eyes they're fractured, red-rimmed, a man unraveling. You turned the volume up. She said it would be clean. She said all I had to do was tell the story her way. I didn't ask why. That's on me. But I saw the boy. I saw the blood. And I still drove her home. You don't remember saying it, but your voice doesn't lie, even when you do. The video ends with a single still frame. You, staring straight into the camera, mouth slightly open, like you're about to say something you never get to say. And behind you, on the motel wall, a mirror, cracked, just like the one in the house. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about the cost of speaking it. You lower the phone and look around the house. It feels smaller now, more familiar, like a memory that refuses to fade. No matter how much you drink or how long you sleep, you take the stairs down to the basement. You know what's down there. You buried it. The boiler room is cold. Condensation drips from rusted pipes, echoing like a clock ticking in reverse. And in the corner where the cement is a slightly different color, you kneel. You dig, fingers scraping stone, nails splitting, and then metal, the box. You yank it free. It opens too easily. Inside the watch, the bracelet, the photo of the boy, and a note you wrote, but never mailed. I'm sorry. I thought I was helping, but I only made it worse. Footsteps above. You freeze. She's here. Or someone is. You slip the items back into the box, grab the recorder, and step out of the boiler room and find her standing at the top of the stairs. Expression unreadable. One hand on the railing, the other holding a key to what you don't know, or maybe you do. You found it, she says. You nod. So what now, you ask? Her voice lowers. Now you choose, truth or loyalty. They're not the same. They never were. She descends the stairs, slow, careful. Each step echoes louder than the last. She stops one step above you, reaches out. Open palm. Give me the recorder. You hesitate, because now you remember something else. You've been here before, and last time you gave it to her, and everything that followed vanished, from police records, from timelines, from you. Your fingers hover over the recorder. It's still blinking, still listening, still waiting. You look her in the eye, and for the first time you don't see fear. You see calculation, and under it, something worse, relief, because she thinks you'll do it again. She's betting on your silence. She always has. And that's the twist, isn't it? She didn't create the alibi. You did. And now, you have to decide whether to keep holding it or burn it to ash, the fire you should have started. You stare at the recorder in your hand, thumb hovering over the stop button like it's a trigger. The red light blinks slowly now, like a pulse you are syncing with, like it's daring you to speak or to stay silent. And she's still there, on the steps, waiting, open palm, perfectly still, like she already knows what you'll choose, because she's seen you choose it before. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about the person you'd become to protect the lie. You always blink, she says. Her voice is soft, almost fond. Right at the edge. You never jump. You tighten your grip around the recorder. Your fingers ache. You think if you hold out long enough, she continues, the truth will dissolve on its own. Like guilt is water soluble. You look at her. Really look this time. The mask is gone. She's not the woman you saved, not the woman you thought you could fix. She's the architect of this. But the blueprints, they were in your handwriting. You take the recorder and press play. The tape rewinds first, not digitally, audibly, like it wants you to hear your past spin backwards before you try again. Click. It begins go, your voice. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Her voice. That's why we wrote it down. So we'd both remember the version we liked. The version where no one died. The version where you were brave. The version where you didn't freeze when the blood hit your shoes. The memory flashes through you like static electricity. The boy on the floor. The scream hers, or yours, or both. The cold metal of the sink as you washed your hands while she rehearsed her lines. You take the tape recorder and walk past her, up the stairs. She doesn't stop you. She doesn't follow. She knows this isn't over. But something's shifted. The house feels flammable again, like the past is oil, and every truth is a spark. In the kitchen, you find the matches, a drawer you never opened before, but somehow knew existed. Inside matches, a lighter, a half-burned envelope. You don't read it. You don't need to. You strike the match. The flame dances for a second, nervous, but then it leans forward, as if reaching for something it remembers. You light the corner of the tape. It curls, shrinks, shrivels in on itself, like a secret finally ashamed of being kept. The smell is thick, plastic and old fabric, and something older beneath it, like guilt finally catching fire. You drop the recorder onto the kitchen floor. It bursts into a pop, then silence. And just like that, she's standing in the doorway, but she doesn't speak. She watches. The flames stretch behind you now, catching onto curtains, cabinets, photographs. One photo in particular burns slower. The Polaroid. You and her, smiling at something that never existed. It curls in the heat like a paper lie dissolving in acid. "What did you just do?" she whispers. You answer without looking back. "The one thing I should have done from the start." She steps forward, reaches for you, but you step outside, smoke chasing your heels. The air out here is sharp and honest. You breathe it in like you're doing it for the first time. And when you turn back, the house is a silhouette behind flame, like it always should have been. You walk, nowhere in particular, just away, and in your coat pocket, you feel something. You reach in, a matchbook, still dry, untouched, and on the inside flap, truth is fireproof. You smile, not because it's over, but because you finally started something. And this time, you're not the one running from the smoke. The face you never noticed in the crowd. 3 days pass, maybe 4. You stop counting. Every motel room smells the same now. Bleach, mildew, and desperation. You stay off the grid, switch SIM cards, pay in cash. The news says the fire was electrical. No mention of arson. No mention of you. Just how she likes it. The past burned clean. At least to anyone not looking too closely. But you're looking now. You always are. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about who was still watching when the story ended. It's raining the night you see him. Through the cracked blinds of a bus station coffee shop, your eyes scan the reflection in the glass more than the people outside. A force of habit now. You've grown paranoid about mirrors, about what they choose to show you. You sip the bitter coffee, cold, unstirred. Your fingers trace the rim of the cup like they're tracing time. And then a face, outside, across the street, watching you, not moving, not blinking, just waiting. You stand slowly, calm but coiled. You cross the street. The man is gone, but where he stood, a flyer taped to a pole, weather-worn, torn at the corners, a missing person. Your missing person. The boy, but younger, smiling in the photo, innocent in a way you've never been, except now. There's something added to the flyer in pen. He, he knew the truth. Do you rip it down, pocket it, and notice something stuck behind the pole. A flash drive, taped there, your initials scratched into the plastic. You don't remember placing it, but your stomach knots with the kind of certainty that doesn't need memory. You plug it into a burner laptop. There's one file, no name, no icon, just opens automatically. Footage, grainy, night vision. It's you in the basement, the night of the murder, facing her, handing her the glove, taking the watch, whispering something the mic doesn't catch, then turning away. But it doesn't stop there. It keeps going. You return hours later, alone. You dig the hole. You place the box. But just before you cover it, you say something. This time, the mic does catch it. They'll believe me if I believe it first. You shut the box, shovel the dirt, and smile. The screen goes black. Then a line of text appears, white on black. You created the lie. She just lived inside it. You slam the laptop shut. Your hands shake, but not from fear, from recognition, not of what you saw, but of who recorded it. You. A version of you. One who knew he might forget. So he documented the past for himself. To be reminded. To make sure the story could never close without consequence. You glance around the bus station. Too quiet. Too still. You don't trust the silence anymore. You walk back to the coffee shop. Slower now. Inside, your table is empty. But something's been left behind. A napkin. Folded. You open it. One sentence. It's not over. She's still writing. You step outside and check your phone. One new voicemail. Blocked. You don't want to press play. But you do. Her voice. You burned the house, but not the manuscript. Truth is just a rough draft. You knew that, didn't you? Come back. Finish what you started. Or I will. The message ends with the sound. A child's laugh. Familiar. Warped. Echoing into silence. You look down at your hands. They're ink-stained. Smudged. Like you've been writing again. Except you haven't picked up a pen in weeks. Or have you? You check your pocket. A page. Folded. Typed. Your voice in black letters. The final act begins with forgetting everything you're sure of. You unfold the rest. It's page 1 of something she wants you to finish, and something you never meant to start. The pages that weren't there. Yesterday, you unfold the rest of the pages 10, maybe 12, all typed in your voice, your rhythm, your phrasing. You didn't write them. You're sure of it. But they remember you. The title at the top of page 1 makes your heart kick. The Alibi. You forgot to question, and right beneath it, in italics, a reconstruction based on suppressed memory and voluntary omission. It reads like a confession written before a crime, except you haven't committed one. Not yet, unless you already have, unless the act wasn't murder, but memory. You sit back down at the bus station bench, the napkin note still in your hand, the pages trembling in your lap. The first paragraph describes a room. You recognize it instantly. Dim yellow light, duct tape on the window, cracked porcelain sink. It's the room where you rehearsed her story. The same phrases, the same timing, the same laugh you practiced for the officers who never doubted you. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about getting the story straight before someone else told theirs. Your phone buzzes again. A photo. No text. Just the image. The burned house. But it's not the aftermath photo you expect. It's new. Taken tonight. The house isn't ashes. It's rebuilt. Again. Identical to before. Every window in place. Every candle lit. As if the fire never happened. As if time is being looped. Rewritten. Authored. You scan the edges of the photo. In the window something's visible. Two figures. One of them is her. The other. A child, small, unmoving, holding a recorder. The words echo. She's still writing. Truth is just a rough draft. You gave her the ending, but not permission. You look at the final page of the manuscript in your lap, typed just minutes ago. It wasn't there before. And the last line, it's not a line, it's an address. Your name below it. Your name signed as author. You throw the pages into your bag and leave the station. Outside, rain begins again. The kind that feels choreographed. You walk fast, faster, turn corners without thinking, but every street feels familiar, like the stories ahead of you now, and you're just catching up to your own plot. You arrive at the address, the same rebuilt house, lit again from within. No smoke, no soot, just silence. You approach the front door. It's open, because of course it is. You step inside. The candles still burn in the hallway. The air carries the smell of ink and matches. And on the table in the center of the room, a new manuscript, thicker than before, untitled, but your name, typed in bold at the bottom of the cover page. By your name. You flip through the first few pages. It's everything. The whole story. Your story. But this time, not from your point of view. From hers. She walks down the stairs. You don't need to turn. You feel her behind you. Closer now. Calmer. Her voice is almost gentle. I only needed you to remember. Now we can finish it. You turn. What do you want from me? She holds up a pen. The final chapter. Truth or fiction. But either way, it ends your way. You hesitate, because the moment you write that last page, the story is over. But the consequences, they might just begin. The pen in your hand now. The manuscript before you. The page blank. The silence waiting. And the truth, still flickering in the corners like candlelight, ready to burn everything down or write it into permanence. The chapter you swore you'd never write. The pen doesn't feel like yours. It feels older, heavier, as if ink was the first weapon. And this choice is the final wound. She watches you, not closely, not impatiently, but confidently, like a director waiting for the actor to hit their mark. Because you've played this role before. You just didn't know the script was hers. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about who controlled the narrative before the verdict even arrived. You sit at the table. The candle flickers. The paper stays white. You press the pen to it. It doesn't bleed. Not yet. And that's what unnerves you. What happens if I don't write it? You ask. She leans on the railing of the stairs, arms crossed. Then someone else will, and you won't like their version. You glance back at the manuscript, still your name on the cover, still her tone in every paragraph, every timeline neat, every motive sterilized, every contradiction erased with perfect formatting. It's not the truth. It's a screenplay, and the world is already watching the trailer. You flip to the end, blank, waiting. You whisper into the silence. There was a boy. Her expression hardens. Be careful, she says. Memories are like mirrors. Too much pressure and they splinter. The memory comes anyway. The boy. Not yours, not hers, but present, because he saw it, saw you, in the hallway, frozen, holding the glove, saw her, with the vase, with the scream, with the stillness, after, and you saw him see it. That's why the lie had to be perfect. Not because the crime was messy, but because someone had witnessed it clean, and now that someone is missing, gone from records, scrubbed from stories, reduced to a footnote, a ghost in a manuscript of false absolution. You write the sentence, I saw him, the pen bleeds, finally, ink flows like confession. She doesn't stop you, not yet. So you keep going. He didn't run. He just stood there, like he knew none of this was his fault. She steps forward. Faster now. But you're ahead. She asked me to lie, and I said yes. I told them he wasn't there. I told them it was just us, but there's always someone watching, isn't there? You pause, feel her presence behind you, breath warm on your neck. Stop, she says, but she doesn't touch you. She can't, because now the story is yours again. You write the next line in all caps. The boy knew. The candles flicker violently, as if the truth disturbs them. You keep writing. I buried his memory in a drawer full of keys and broken timelines, but he's still there, waiting, not for justice, just for someone to say his name. You write the name. You don't know how you know it, but it appears under your hand like it was always there. Elliot. The room groans. The mirror in the hallway spiderwebs again. A whisper from nowhere. You remembered. She slams the manuscript closed. Enough. Her voice is different now. Not scared, but cracked. Like the story's turned back on her. Like the characters no longer obey the plot. You stand and speak. Clearly. Louder than before. He was the truth. Everything after was damage control. And you made me the editor. The pen clatters to the floor. The manuscript smolders at the edges, but you don't try to put it out. You let the flames eat the binding, eat the false paragraphs, eat your name off the cover. And when the fire dies, only one page remains, not typed, handwritten. In a child's looping scroll, I'm still here. You turn, but the room is empty now. No candles, no manuscript, no her. Only a mirror on the wall, and in it, you, holding the page. And behind your reflection, a boy, smiling, not angry, just remembered. You fold the page, put it in your pocket, and walk outside. The rain is gone, but the ground is wet, as if the world was rinsed clean. For now, the memory that refused to stay buried. You walk for hours, no map, no destination, just forward, like guilt on autopilot. Each step feels lighter, but that doesn't mean you're free. It just means the weight has shifted from denial to awareness, from silence to memory. The folded page in your pocket whispers against your thigh with every stride. You haven't read it again. You don't need to. You remember every letter, every curve of the ink, because Eliot wrote it, and Eliot is the only one who never asked you to lie. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about protecting the version of you that couldn't face it. You find yourself in front of the police station. The building is squat, brutalist, indifferent, like justice carved from concrete. You stand across the street, heartbeat sinking to the red traffic light. You could go in. You could hand them the page. You could say everything. You've rehearsed this, but this time, there's no script. And that's what terrifies you. You pull out the page, but there's a second one now. You didn't notice it before. Same handwriting, a little shakier, older, dated last week. You think I disappeared? But I didn't. You just deleted me. I left clues in the basement, in the story, in yourself. If you're reading this, it means you're ready. Come find me. And beneath that, another address, different town, different state, still within reach. Your hand trembles because you know what this means. If Elliot's alive, then everything burns. The trial, the alibi, the lie, your exoneration, her escape. You were never the criminal, but you were never innocent either. Across the street, a siren wails. Inside the station, officers move like clockwork. Paperwork, deadlines, dead eyes, but no one's looking at you. Not yet. Your fingers hover over your phone. You could call. You could send the pages. Anonymous drop. Burn your involvement. Walk away. You'd be safe, maybe even forgiven. But you'd never sleep again, because forgiveness isn't silence. It's confrontation. You stuff the pages into your coat, step back from the crosswalk, and turn the opposite direction toward the bus station, toward Elliot. 2 hours later, you're on the road, rain on the windows, suitcase beside your feet. In your hand, a disposable phone, one saved voicemail, her voice, warped now, but clearer than it's ever been. You can't undo a story. You can only finish it. But remember, whoever writes the ending holds the power. Don't let him take it from us. Click. Silence. Then static. Like the stories resisting being told. You close your eyes. Behind your eyelids, the basement, the photo, the watch, the scream. But now, something new. The boy, reaching toward you not in fear, but offering something. A pencil, not a weapon, an invitation. You wake when the bus stops. The town is small, too quiet. One diner, 2 churches, a courthouse barely bigger than your kitchen. And on the corner of the main street, a library. You don't know how you know it's where he'll be, but you walk inside. Dust hangs like memory, and in the back, by the archive section, a boy, older now, but the eyes still Elliot's. He looks up. No surprise, no accusation, just recognition. Took you long enough. He says, you nod. You still writing? He smiles faintly. Only the parts that matter. You sit beside him. The silence is thick, but not heavy. It's shared, and that changes everything. You reach into your coat, pull out the pages, unfold them carefully. You want to finish it together. Elliot doesn't hesitate. Only if we tell the truth this time, and for the first time in years, you don't flinch at the word. The truth that rewrites everything. You sit across from him at a wooden table, scratched with the ghosts of other stories' checkout stamps, carved initials, coffee rings like forgotten timelines. The library is near empty, but the silence feels different now. It doesn't hide you. It invites you. Elliot slides a yellow legal pad toward you. His handwriting sprawls across the first page like a lifeline. Not neat, not rehearsed, but real. He thought no one saw him panic, but I did. And that's when I realized he wasn't the villain, just the first casualty of the lie. You stare at the words, not because you doubt them, but because they forgive you before you've even earned it. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. It was never about the truth. It was about surviving it long enough to tell it back out loud. You reach for a pen. No more typewriters, no more keyboards, no more redacted statements. Ink on paper, breath to breath. You begin. I watched the scene 100 times in my head, but it never started with the crime. It always started with the choice. The moment I picked her side, because I thought it was the only one that would love me back. Elliot reads silently as you write, doesn't interrupt, doesn't question. He just underlines phrases he likes. One of them stands out. The lie worked because it made room for the version of me I wanted to be. You both stop writing at the same time. Maybe instinct, maybe muscle memory from a life you almost erased. The air hums, the weight lifts. Not all of it, just enough to breathe again. You gather the pages, not into a script, not into evidence, but into a record, a reckoning. The truth told by two people who finally stopped pretending it didn't hurt. What now, you ask? Elliot doesn't answer immediately. Then, we publish it. You blink. As fiction? He shakes his head. As both. The story will go out under a pseudonym. It'll get read by strangers, picked apart on forums, but somewhere, someone will see themselves in it. See the gaslighting, the guilt, the silence that clung like smoke, and they'll ask, did this really happen? And the answer will be, it keeps happening, until someone rewrites the ending. You walk out of the library together. No goodbye, no grand final scene, just a quiet step into daylight. Your name forgotten by some, protected by others, and finally known by you. Back at the motel, you burn the old manuscript, page by page. You let it go without flinching. No regret, no ceremony, only clarity. And in the ashtray, one line remains unburned, fused to the metal. She had a perfect alibi because you gave it to her, Shah. You smile, not out of relief, but because you've finally stopped lying to yourself. The story's done, but you're just getting started. Across town, in a bookstore window, a flyer is posted. Coming soon, a true story that reads like a lie. Author, unknown. And tucked beneath it, a Polaroid. Two people at a library table, not smiling, just writing. Together, you never hear from her again. But some nights, in the static between stations, in the dead air before a voicemail plays, you swear you hear a line whispered just for you. You chose the ending. I'll choose the sequel. Let her. You're not afraid of the next story anymore. You have the pen now, and this time, you'll write in ink that doesn't burn. Word count, Kav1 200. Proceeding to final wind down. Final wind down, 300 words. The rain has stopped, night listener. But the story, it lingers, like breath on glass, like a fingerprint on a forgotten page. You followed every echo, every twist, every confession wrapped in caution tape. You've stared down mirrors that cracked before you looked and saw versions of yourself you tried to bury. But that's the thing about guilt. It's not a shadow, it's a reflection. And reflections don't lie. They just wait for you to admit what you already know. She had a perfect alibi. So perfect it curled at the edges like a stage prop. So perfect. You had to ask, who rehearsed it first? Maybe it wasn't about the murder. Maybe it was about who got to hold the pen. Maybe justice never needed a verdict. Maybe it needed a rewrite. And now the story is over. But the truth, it's still out there, flickering in streetlights, shivering behind file cabinets, tapping softly at the glass. You're not being hunted anymore. You're being remembered. So, sleep if you can, but don't forget, there are always more stories, and not all of them wait for permission to be told. Some knock, some whisper, some already know your name. If you ever find a photograph you don't remember taking, or a manuscript you never meant to write, just know it's already begun again. Somewhere, for someone, maybe for you. Until next time, keep your doors locked, keep your memories honest, and keep your pens full, because the next lie might be yours to tell or yours to catch. End of script. Sleep well and watch your back.